Hello everyone, my topic is the case of climate change and resource scarcity. There are two questions for company. What are the implications for the international businesses now and in the future? How can companies shape and respond to them from the sustainability perspective? First, as the world becomes more populous, the demand for food from global populations is expected to increase by 35% by 2020. At the same time as climate change, trade, and resources scarcity, companies are increasingly interconnected with those climate change. Climate change is likely to reduce agriculture productivity in much of Africa, and the world's current economic model is outpacing the planet's ability to cope, and international business will also face negative effects. There are two effects. One is on the one hand, the limited resources of planet have created many new business risks. Those include the impact on company operations during extreme weather events, supply shortage for companies due to water scarcity, and in addition to this, companies are exposed to transition risk arising from society's response to climate change, such as the changes in technology, markets, and regulations. Those changes may increase business costs, undermine the viability of existing products or services, or affect the value of company assets. Two is another climate-related risk facing businesses is their potentiality for emitting greenhouse gases. In recent years, a growing number of legal cases have been directed against fossil fuel companies and utilities, holding them accountable for damaging effects of climate change. As an important part of economy and society, enterprises must undertake the social responsibility of protecting the environment. So at the same time, it is invaluable to face various requirements and standards for environmental protection at home or abroad, which increases the economic expenditure of companies, and some companies even go out of business. But in addition to the negative effects, the limited resources of Earth also provide new business opportunity for the company. First, the company can transform and focus on improving their resource productivity. For example, at present, global oil demand has rebounded significantly and oil prices continue to rise. Facing the new situation of global energy transformations and the diversification, low carbon and clean development of oil companies. Some oil companies set their company strategy and establish the new development goals to adapt to pace of industry transformation. At the same time, the company actively expands new energy and new technology fields, explores the new models of low carbon development, and actively transform from a traditional oil company to an energy technology company. Second is climate change and promote company on innovate. For example, to reduce carbon emissions, the automobile industry have invested heavily in reach of electric vehicles, shift from polluting technology to green technology. Third, the companies can enhance the resilience of their supply chains. For example, by switching the renewable energy to reduce reliance on volatile fossil fuels, those actions foster competitiveness and unlock new markets in opportunities. But in various by industry, the fields of tourism, automotive, consumer goods, and energy and utilities. This company's development is close to linked to every stakeholder. Those sectors have some differences in grade of influence from various stakeholders. For example, in travel, consumer goods, and automotive, pressure from consumers is more intense. In energy and utility sector, there are more pressure from investors and regulators. On the other hand, in terms of climate change, the technology, media, and telecommunications industry also use related technologies to combat climate change. For example, the digital capabilities of information and communication technologies can help provide solutions to a wide range of sustainable development changes, especially climate change, where digital technologies can help some economic growth from resources consumption, improvement or accountability from environmental impacts, and help analyze and predict the development of climate change. Shipping and response there from sustainability perspective. So, economic globalization have brought about globalization of society and environment issues, which is accompanied by global governments of economic, social, and environment issues, and expectations of international communities towards sustainable development. Among them, companies' global allocations of resources and international operations are an important source of the above-mentioned globalization problems and an important force for problem solving. It is precious because this international communities is increasingly calling for enterprises and undertake social responsibility and promotes sustainable development. So first, enterprises can use the sustainable development goals to establish goals such as sustainable production and consumption, emphasizing mutual supervision and cooperation in human rights, labor standards, environmental protection, and anti-corruption and integrity in entire supply chains of enterprise. In addition, it should also be noted that the sustainable development of the whole companies should become one of the core competitive advantage of the companies. Companies should actively communicate with the stakeholders about the issues they faced in the sustainable development, their efforts and achievements, to gain the understanding and trust of the important stakeholders, including the customers, consumers, and communities, and the strive for the sustainable development, better business environment, and market opportunities. The second is to identify the economic, social, and environmental impact of the company's own decision and achievements. In particular, the impact on different stakeholders, identify the expectations of stakeholders and society for the enterprise, identify the risk and opportunity faced by all corporations of the company, as well as the measures and business opportunity that can be taken. In this process, it is necessary to fully consider the expectations of the international communities for the development of the industry in the context of global governance, the law, regulations, and the standards of the relevant national governments, and the requirements of various provide sustainability standards at the industry level. Concerns and the requirements of the stakeholders such as governments, organizations, media, and communities where its operations is located. The second is the company should set sustainable development goals to strengthen the public and other stakeholders to pay attention to concepts such as green low carbon and zero carbon. Biodiversity and sustainable water conservation and promote the vigorous development of a series of industry and innovative projects. For example, the production of traditional medicinal materials that are dependent on pieces of diversity, the engineering projects set to deal with the duplications of regional drinking water resources, the green credit, and the green finance businesses developed by financial enterprises around environmental engineering. In the agriculture and animal husbandry enterprises that can protect the biodiversity while realizing production value. The sustainable development goals the Sustainable Development Goals inspiring the company to open the new business models and provide the new opportunities for company to expand their development space. Okay, thanks for your listening. This is my presentation. This sources is I used in my presentation.